What if I told you that America wasn't born on July 4th? Most people believe the United States came into existence the moment the Declaration of Independence was signed. But the real story is much more complicated and far more fascinating. Long before there was an American flag, long before George Washington became president, and even before the first English settlers arrived, millions of people already called this land home. So when did America really begin? Let's go back to the very beginning. Thousands of years before Europeans crossed the Atlantic, North America was home to thriving indigenous civilizations. Communities farmed, traded, built cities, and developed rich cultures across the continent. Nations such as the Cherokee, Haudenosaunee Confederacy, Pueblo peoples, and many others had established governments, economies, and traditions long before European colonization. Then, in 1492, the voyages of Christopher Columbus connected Europe and the Americas in ways that would permanently reshape both continents. Although Columbus never reached what is now the continental United States, his voyages opened the door to centuries of exploration, colonization, conflict, and exchange. Over time, Spain, France, England, and the Netherlands established colonies across North America. In 1607, the English founded Jamestown in Virginia, the first permanent English settlement in North America. Just 13 years later, another group of English settlers arrived aboard the Mayflower and established Plymouth Colony. Over the next century and a half, 13 British colonies stretched along the Atlantic coast. Although each colony had its own government and traditions, they all answered to the British Crown. For many years, that relationship worked well. Then everything changed. After the costly French and Indian War, Britain found itself deeply in debt. To raise money, Parliament imposed new taxes on the colonies. The colonists were furious. Their complaint wasn't simply about paying taxes. It was about having no representatives in Parliament. Their rallying cry became no taxation without representation. Protests spread. Boycotts followed. Then came one of the most famous acts of resistance in American history, the Boston Tea Party. The conflict between Britain and the colonies was no longer just political. It was becoming revolutionary. In April 1775, fighting broke out at Lexington and Concord. The American Revolutionary War had begun. A year later, representatives from the colonies met in Philadelphia. One man, Thomas Jefferson, drafted a document that declared the colonies were no longer part of the British Empire. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress approved the Declaration of Independence. It announced to the world that a new nation had been born. But declaring independence was only the beginning. The war would continue for years before Britain recognized American independence. Victory in the Revolution did not solve every problem. The new nation first operated under the Articles of Confederation, a system that gave the national government limited authority. Leaders soon realized a stronger framework was needed. In 1787, delegates gathered in Philadelphia to write the United States Constitution. 2 years later, the Constitution took effect. In 1789, George Washington became the nation's first president. The government of the United States, as we know it today, was officially underway. So when did America begin? Was it when the first people arrived thousands of years ago? Was it in 1607 with Jamestown? Was it on July 4, 1776? Or was it in 1789 when the Constitution and the first president established the new federal government? The answer depends on what we mean by America. What is certain is that the United States was shaped by generations of people, struggles, ideas, and events that continue to influence the nation today. If you enjoyed this journey through history, subscribe for more stories about the people and events that shaped America. In the next episode, we'll explore what life was really like in the 13 colonies before the Revolution.